Hello everybody. Hello everybody. So we're going to go over the majority of the rest of your lung video, or of your lungs today, or respiratory system. We're going to start with the outside of your lungs, which, as you can tell, look pretty spiffy with your heart in the middle and the bottom of the diaphragm here. Right? So this is the outside part of your lungs before we get into it, and I will probably give you guys a tiny small video of the internal microscopic type workings that's on your lab list. But this is going to be the majority of the rest of what y'all need. So the first thing you have to know is the muscle that helps this all work is called your diaphragm. It is this big muscle that is the muscle wall up underneath your lungs right here. All right, so all of that. The apex of your lungs is the top tip of your lungs here, while the base is down here. This is the base of your lungs. Apex is the top. Right? The hilum of your lungs is this lovely internal part here. If I were to pop your lungs off, see how you have this lovely wall here of your lung tissue where it fits nice together with your heart, right? Where all the blood vessels actually go into it from your heart. That is called the hilum region of your lungs. So this internal region here of your lungs, where you can see all the blood vessels and everything else going into it. So this wall of your lungs right there, where all of these blood vessels and the tracheal air tubes and whatnot, that is the hilum of your lungs. Right? There we go. Right. So just the outer covering of your lungs is called pleura. You have a visceral side of it. This is just like when we talked about the pericardium being a bed sheet where you have one side is one name and the other side is the other. Visceral side touches the lungs. Parietal side is on the outside of the lungs. But the pleura is this outer tissue. You have a pleural cavity, which is a small cavity around the lungs that helps maintain pressure levels. And you guys already know about your pulmonary arteries and your pulmonary veins. Right? You guys already know about that. Those are the arteries and veins that come from the heart that feed into your lungs so that your lungs can change the oxygen levels in your blood. Right? So there are some differences between your left and right lung. See, you have two lungs, but there's a left one and a right one. Right? Your left lung, if you guys are looking, is a little bit smaller than your right lung. And why is that? Because your heart takes up space on it, right? So your left lung here, it only has 2 lobes. So your left lung has 2 lobes of it. You can see the difference between the lobes with this fissure right here. Top lobe is called the superior lobe. Bottom lobe is called the inferior lobe. Congratulations. The line that separates the two, because it goes a kitty corner here, that angle is called an oblique angle. So this is the oblique fissure here. And because your heart takes up space on the left lung, it has this little notch in it where the heart fits. That is called the cardiac notch. Your right lung, though, is a little bit bigger and actually has 3 lobes to it. It has the top one, which is your superior right lobe. Bottom one, which is the inferior right lobe. And then this one that's in the middle because it's a little bit bigger and has 3 lobes, which is the middle right lobe. Right? This kitty corner fissure has the same name. This is also an oblique fissure. But this one fissure, because remember now instead of only separating things into 2 parts, there's 3. This fissure right here that goes side to side is called the horizontal fissure. Right? And that brings us to the internal workings of your lungs, right? So you can see here the pulmonary arteries and the pulmonary veins. Remember that for your pulmonary circuit, the colors are switched, so the veins are red and the arteries are blue. And this light blue tube stuff here, these are your bronchial tubes because that's all your respiratory system. This is better seen on your branching model of branched bronchioles, which is this one. All right, so we are leaving behind our full lung model now for this model. The trachea is the tube that runs down. At the bottom of the trachea, it splits into left and right, like it forks into left and right lungs, because this is bringing air to your lungs and from your lungs. So it has to split between left and right. This split right here at the bottom of your trachea is called the carina. Right? These are called your bronchial tubes. If you ever have bronchitis, it means these are the tubes that are infected with stuff. And please note, they are slightly different shapes because one of them goes more straight down. So it'd be the right side. Your left one flares out a little bit more. This means that if you ever have a child that may be choking on an M&M or something, the M&M, if it went down the wrong tube, might have just straight up fallen here and gravity might have taken it down into the right lung. Right? So you have your trachea, you know what your tracheal cartilages or rings are, right? This is the carina. Your bronchi are named based upon the number of turns and divides they have taken. So these first turns here, primary bronchi. So you have primary bronchi. And oh look, this one forked again. So this one is a secondary bronchi. Secondary bronchi. Secondary bronchi. And oh look, it forks again, and that's when the colors start. So now you have branches of tertiary bronchi, which are the ones that are 3 branches deep. So you have tertiary bronchi up here. All of these colored bronchi branches are tertiary bronchi. Up here is primary. First fork in the road, these are now the secondary bronchi. Next fork in the road, the tertiary ones. Right? Right? From there, it gets down into the microscope level of stuff you guys need to know. I will give you guys a little PowerPoint on that so you guys can label what the alveolar sacs and that sort of thing. But as far as your models go, tertiary bronchi on this model is the last set of bronchi. Alrighty guys, have a wonderful night.